She had no intention of making Jerry an accomplice, so she came in after he had gone home. It was also an hour before her shift, which gave her enough time, she hoped, to show Martin pictures of the basement wall and the doll and to try to interpret his reaction. "What are you thinking?" she whispered, staring into his brown eyes. From the ECG, his heart was beating steadily, expectantly, she felt. "Who are you really? Not Martin, but who? A man with a mission? That's what I think. But am I right?" She believed from the start that the girl in the photograph was his daughter, but there was some doubt in her mind, and she hoped to dispel that doubt tonight, the doll being in some as yet unclear way her path into his thoughts. "Okay," she whispered, "here goes." She pressed a key. The first image was of the wall in the entrance foyer of the house, which she planned to use as the control. After taking 3 separate readings to allow for random variations, she switched to the photograph of the closed door that led to the basement. The increase in pupil size was not as marked as before, but to her mind it was still significant. "You're getting used to this, aren't you?" she murmured. "It's not as dramatic the second time around." She attached a card reader to the USB port at the back of the computer, inserted the camera card and hit a few keys. "Okay, now the doll. Peter Drake might think that sending this to me gives him the right to be involved. It does not." With the swing-out computer screen pointing away from the bed, Jessie checked that the doll's image would display correctly. Then she switched to a picture scanned in from one of her own family photos, of a teddy bear she had had until she was 6 years old, when one of her mother's boyfriends decided to use it as target practice for his new .22 rifle. She showed it to Martin. This would be the control. With 3 readings made, she switched back to the doll's image and allowed Martin to see it. She expected to get a small but measurable increase in the size of his pupils. Instead, the effect was dramatic. The injured man's pupillary diameter jumped by 70% in less than a second. His skin conductance rose and continued to rise as she watched, and then his heart rate accelerated by 20, 50, 80, 100%. Suddenly, the cardiac monitor was producing an unnerving, erratic series of beeps. The effect was so dramatic that Jessie fell over a gas lift chair on her way to him, reaching the bed as the irregular beats changed to an uninterrupted scream. "No, no!" She began chest compressions. They had no immediate effect, so she gave him an injection of epinephrine. She had resumed chest compressions when Louise and Marla appeared at the door with a crash cart. "He's having an MI, Jessie shouted to them. "I need the paddles, quickly!" Marla readied the equipment as Jessie, with trembling fingers, ripped away the gown over Martin's chest. She snatched the defibrillator paddles off a surprised Louise. "I've been stupid, Lou." Jessie brought the paddles onto the exposed chest without issuing the usual warning to stand clear. The body jerked. She looked across at the ECG. "What have I done? What the hell have I done?" "Course fib," Marla called out. She had taken watch over the cardiac monitor. "Okay, again. We go straight to 360 joules. Jessie could barely get the words out. "Jessie," Louise said calmly, "let's do this in easy stages. Marla, keep it at 200. The plump woman nodded. "Course fib," Marla said again. "I'm losing him, Lou. I'm losing him. God, I'm losing him." "Here, let me do it." Louise nudged Jessie aside and in a calm voice said, "1 of epi first, please, Marla." "I've done that." "Flatline," Marla announced as she turned back to the monitor. "Okay, stand back. Marla, remember, still 200 joules. The body convulsed. Jessie watched on silently, biting her thumbnail. "Irregular sinus," the nurse said. Louise glanced at Jessie. "We're getting there, honey bun. He's going to make it, honest." Jessie's gaze was locked on the paddles. "Back to course fib." "It's all my fault," Jessie said. "It's all my fault." "Rubbish. He's been like this all week. Okay, this should be the last one. Everybody stand clear." Again the body jumped. "Normal sinus rhythm," Marla said. "He's back." "Of course he is." Louise took a deep breath, apparently to calm herself, although she had seemed perfectly calm throughout the drama. She returned the paddles to their receptacles. "He's okay," she said to Jessie, resting a hand on Jessie's arm. "More to the point, Jessamine Clara, are you okay?" I'm fine, Jessie said, straightening her back slightly. She sniffed. I wasn't that worried. As soon as she was satisfied their patient was stable, Louise led Jessie to a storeroom. Okay, she said, closing the door behind them. What was that about? I've never seen you like that before. Never. It was an aberration. It won't happen again. That was more than an aberration, Jess. Jessie turned and looked Louise in the eye. What then? She immediately looked away. No, forget it. Never mind. But I do mind. What happened back there is not like you. Jerry Cheval told me that only parts of the guy's brain are functional, perhaps fairly disconnected parts, which means he's not fully conscious, Jessie. He can't be. Okay, he's not in a vegetative state, but he's not a thinking person either. You should take that into account before you become emotionally involved. Then why does everyone spend so much time with him? You, Marla, the other nurses, even Alastair Cotton, our esteemed Chief of Emergency Medicine. I'm not really sure. It's a kind of empathy, I suppose. Lou, if I had any doubts about Martin's mental state before, I don't now. What we just witnessed was brought on when I showed him the picture of the doll. And before you tell me it was a coincidence that it would have happened anyway, let me tell you that it was progressive. His vitals indicated he was becoming more and more agitated over time. Maybe, maybe not. But Jessie, I've seen you work with seriously ill patients before, like Felicity Truman. She's terminal and you spend quite a lot of your free time with her, yet you still manage to retain enough professional distance to allow you to do your job. Not this time, not with this patient. Jessie stared at the floor. For once, she did not look Louise's gaze head on. He's alone, Lou. That man is so alone. A tear welled up in her eye. She hurriedly wiped it away. Oh, Jessie. Louise moved towards her, but Jessie put up a hand and stepped back. I'm fine, Jessie said. Are you? Are you really? Yes. Look, he's got a mind, I just know it. But he can't tell anyone how he feels. Can you imagine what that would be like? To be so alone that you can't tell anyone your secrets. Secrets that could keep most people awake at night. For a long moment, Louise stared into Jessie's eyes, her frown deepening. The frightening part is that not only can he not confide in anyone, Jessie went on, he can't do anything to help himself deal with it. He's locked in his own private world, a prisoner of his mind, with no escape, and frankly no hope of escape. When he dies, and we're quite sure that that will happen fairly soon, those secrets could die with him. Lou, we can't let that happen. We just can't.